Gay, Ushanka Show. Still trying to figure out. Okay, so I gotta look right here. That's what the camera is. Uh, Another Ushanka Show live, celebrating 51 and 52,000 subscribers. Gotta move this camera so I don't look that way. So I'll be, as we always do, looking at the big screen, looking at your questions. Make sure, let me know the sound is fine. I'm still figuring out this high-tech equipment right here. We got viewers from Great Britain here, I see. We got New York upstate. Sounds good, great. So yeah, greetings everyone. Thank you for joining. We have a wonderful day here in Michigan. The temperature's around pushing 50 Fahrenheit, so it's like 12 or so degrees Celsius. Finally, we're warming up a little bit. Snow is melting, so everything's good. Oh boy, picture's actually pretty crisp. I'm impressed. All right, so we got Florida here. Greetings, James. How did Soviet people listen to Western music? I actually planning to make videos about it, but a lot of it was just copying. So somebody will smuggle LPs or tapes from West, usually sailors. Oh, we got Oregon here. Greetings, Sweden. Hello. Monovision. Хорватия even. Hey. I got my former neighbors online too. Canada here. Hello. So yeah, usually there'll be tapes, and you just copy tapes, and they copy tapes, and they copy tapes. And there's one, I said, I'm gonna make a video about it, but it was like if you grew up, if you were a teenager in '80s, a lot of performers, like I never seen them, like pictures even. So for example, Chinggis Khan from Germany, I don't know if anybody familiar with that. It became popular with Nintendo Wii. Son Rasputin, remember Ra Ra Rasputin? That's a Chinggis Khan. No, that's a Boney M. Never mind. I got mixed up. So anyway, so like all those performers, I knew the names, I knew the songs, but I never seen the pictures. So in like around 2000, it was a popular thing to invite. So now those people are old, you know, those performers like Chinggis Khan, and suddenly there's a huge interest for them to perform in Moscow because all those people now they have money, they got old, but they never seen actual concerts, right? So there'll be these people, CC Catch from Germany, Modern Talking, as I said, Chinggis Khan, who else? Like Boney M, all these guys that, Joy, all those bands that everyone even don't remember them. Soviet people were still hungry to see them live. Oh, we got even Turkey, Istanbul, greetings. So yeah, that was kind of funny. Yeah, there's actually those concerts, you could see them on YouTube, and it's like these old people. I mean, they're all playing, on a phonogram, of course, because their voice changed and stuff like that. But I think they were totally shocked that people were willing to pay them a lot of money to perform because they were like old. Okay. Well, we got places all over. And right now, so, I have a fan mail. I have a P.O. Box 96 here in Buran Springs. So I'm collecting postcards from Silent Circle. Yep. Stop the rain in the night. So my dream is to collect all these 15 states in USA. Right now I have a West Virginia and Texas and Rhode Island. So I got 3 out of 50. So we need to get that going. And also, we got somebody grew up in Buran Springs, Michigan. Well, I live. So if you live in any other states, it'll be fantastic if you can send me a postcard. That'll be awesome. As a P.O. Box Ushanka Show or Sergei Sputnikov, P.O. Box 96, Buran Springs, Michigan. Also from other countries will be even more fantastic. I know right now I have a card coming from Japan, so I'm thrilled. I'm an old timer like snail mail. We got Wisconsin. Hey, we got Moscow. How about that? We got товарищи из Москвы. It's awesome. New York, Moscow. Okay, so right now, what was the reaction of Soviet people when space shuttle Buran flew into space? I actually kept that article. Yeah, we were super thrilled. That was like the last years of the Soviet Union. Unfortunately, it's turned out to be a huge waste of money. I'm still not positive exactly why we decided to develop it. I think it was pretty much Soviet military was interested in Buran, and then when they said no, we're not interested anymore, it's like well, they had no more financing, so they just flew it once, and that was the end of it. So that was huge waste of money, and pretty much it. But yeah, that was quite a bit of pride and the whole conversation. I think there was a guy on the Buran shuttle, although they claimed it was total automatic landing, which I kind of doubt. With what the computer systems we had back in the 80s, I don't think was possible. There is a question not related to Soviet Union. What was the best solution possible to bring down Putin and his cronies? Well, I mean, that's pretty much, I see it how South Africa get rid of apartheid. And Navalny is pretty much like a Russian Mandela, right? He goes through all those struggles and prosecution and imprisonment in order to get, people raised up. I don't know. It's a lot of Russian people, they're still so horrified from the 90s. So they are prefer Putin because he brought stability. But, Swamp also has stability. But, Putin just milking the Russia. I mean, the richest country in the world in natural resources, and people there are not doing great. What did you find to be the biggest surprise or culture shock that you didn't expect when you got to the US? Well, this question, Comrade MP, if you read my book, this whole book, American Diaries 1995, I forgot to bring it with me. It's available on Sputnikov.com. You can buy it. We got first donation. Thank you from Monovision. Thank you for your donation. Appreciate it. This whole book is about my shock. It was a lot of it. When you feel like I'm on a different planet for a while. We got Lucia from Finland. Greetings. So there's a lot of that in that book. I mean, the whole experience, learning English along the way, because I learned English like British style, so American English was different. I got in the camp, Spain, Buenos dias, or Buenas noches. So that was a challenge, and of course, camp was for inner city kids from Chicago, black kids, black counselors. So that was total shock. I was scared for a while till I figured out, and of course it helped me that I was tall and loud, so kids respected me. But food was different. I was shocked to see that my expectation of summer camp was it was like super fancy, cool, but it was a really poor camp. No jet skiing, no boating, like everything was really basic, primitive. No air conditioning in the cabins. I thought it would be all cool. So yeah, but yeah, definitely, if you're interested, like this whole book is about my experiences coming first time to America. Okay, we got question from Sweden. I saw you used a picture of Iron Felix. What is your opinion of him? He was a very interesting person. He founded Dynamo Moscow football club. Well, Dynamo is kind of like a militia cops, police club, sports club. So yeah, every Dynamo team, we had Dynamo Kiev. It was also that type. Of course, when I grew up, everything was positive about Iron Felix, as they call him. But he was one of the initiators of the Red Terror. So of course, if you look back, all those rivers of blood spilled over breaking the country and changing people into accepting socialism and power government of Bolsheviks. I don't think it was worth it. At that time, I know it's easy to say something now looking back, but I'm not sure. I mean, they would lose power if they wouldn't do the terror because, it was huge resistance against their government. So it needs to be more information, but definitely they went all the way, killing, I don't know, millions of people in the end, trying to remain at power. Okay, New York Upstate, we got donation. Thank you. Wow. You have my attention. We got the most generous donation I've ever seen, $50. We got donation from New York Upstate. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. I need to planning to make another video about Reddit crowd. There's another, you can check Reddit, like search for the terms. If you search for Ushanka Show, there's some really interesting. Actually, oh yeah, it just clicked to me that this is Thomas from New York State, and he just purchased all three of my books. If you're not aware, I have 1995 available in Russian and English language. I translated myself. In 1996, it's only in Russian. No, $50 won't buy you a house in Ukraine. You need at least $500 to go somewhere far away, like in the village that my mom lives. Okay, we're moving along with questions. We got Omaha, Nebraska. What will Soviet people think about North Korea? I mean, we were supportive of North Korea, but we didn't get a lot of information. I think at some point, when their leader went like hardcore Stalin style. So that was like a neutral positive, but we didn't get a lot of information about North Korea. I'm planning to make a video about it, but really not much I can tell you. Right now, I think in Russia there's more North Korean people than before because that's cheap labor and they send people to other countries to make currency. Okay. As someone that specialized in Soviet history at university, I love the channel. Absolutely brilliant. We got a donation for £10. Great from Britain. Thank you so much for your support. I'm glad you like my channel. I'm glad it's just I'm lucky that I spent 20 years in Soviet Union. So I was 20 in 1991, and because I moved to America, and I speak fluent English. I mean, somewhat fluent. So I can tell you those stories. I remember, I'm not too old, I'm too young, so I can share like actual experiences of Soviet person. Of course, I'm covering just a sliver of experience because, I grew up in a city. I'm a city boy, and definitely someone who grew up in Far East, Siberia. They probably had totally different experience. Like Kiev was supplied with food way better than, for example, Sverdlovsk or some other small towns out in Russia. So, all right, see what else we can get. Questions. So yeah, people asking, hey, if you can find postcards these days are becoming challenging. I think you need to order postcard online for your state. Used to be like you go in any store and there'll be some cards, but not anymore. But yeah, it definitely makes me happy to open my PO Box 96 and I see a postcard from somewhere. It's really cool. Why did USSR want to keep Mongolia from Chinese? I can't tell you that. I know Mongolia, I think there was a conversation that they wanted to join Soviet Union. I just discovered that Bulgaria apparently also was kind of in talks about becoming 16th Republic. So I don't know, to keep some leverage. I'm not sure at that time they knew that Mongolia has a lot of natural resources. Like now, I'm not sure what they mine in there, but Mongolia is like a big deal now for the natural resources. But I don't know if Chinese was trying to get to. I think historically China kind of has a sore spot for Mongolia because of the history of Genghis Khan back then when they took control of China. So probably not a good idea for Mongol people to be under Chinese control. What was like when the Soviet Union collapsed? It was mixed feelings. I mean, I was a young guy, so I was super excited. And of course, for a while it was good. But then when the factory started closing down and we had shortage of money, that was pretty tough. It's pretty much, picture like New Zealand and dodo birds, right? Suddenly you have this cats showed up, right? And you were doing great and suddenly you're endangered species. You need to adapt and adapt really quick. So a lot of older people, dodos, I mean, in a nice way, I'm not trying to be mean. They don't know what to do. People who were flexible, they adjusted and they were doing good. Like my parents were, in their late 40s, early 50s, it's in 91. So yeah, late 40s. My dad would just keep on going to work, even if they didn't pay for like 6 months. There was no salary, but he still would go to work, and or just hang out because there was no job. My mom was doing better. She when she figured out there's nothing gonna be good at work, they're gonna shut down eventually. She went on bazaar, was selling stuff. Then she was making her own meat pies and selling them on the street. And for several years, I was a breadwinner. This is kind of when my kids will argue with me about something like I'm just too young to do this or that. I'm at the age of 22, was a supplying whole my family. Like I worked in a night kiosk selling vodka and Snicker chocolate bars for $2 a night, and then in the morning I'll come home and give them this $2 in Ukrainian currency, and I go to sleep, and my mom will buy groceries. So I had to take care of my family from early age, but I was young, so I could change and adopt, and I'm smuggling vodka to Poland and all that stuff I had to do. People who couldn't figure out how to change, they suffered quite a bit. So, but yeah, people who, of course, were proud of might of the Soviet Union were really not happy because suddenly we became like beggars of the world. We had nothing. Okay, question. What do you think of Alexei Navalny? I wish him the best. He is definitely fighting a tough fight. As you know, like his troubles began when he announced that he's going to run for president of Russia, and after that, Putin went after him. I don't know if you follow all this poisoning. They discovered huge, like he was followed by this poison team for a long time. So it's pretty crazy. Um, Another large donation. Thank you so much. Appreciate your support. Wow. This is the biggest donation I've ever seen in my life. I used to work for $2 a night. I can make $50 in one life. That's pretty impressive. Life changed. But of course, I never had the gray hair in my beard when I was making $2 a night. Oh, good times. So yeah, Alexei Navalny. A lot of people talk that there's a CIA behind him, and I don't think so. Uh, I'm really pessimistic about the future of Russia as one country. I'm afraid, it's just not gonna make it, and I hope it will separate peacefully, just like Soviet Union did. So, because there's a parts of Russia that supply, like oil and gas. Okay, so quick question here: are your books a different? Okay, so books, Russian and English version are different. Yes, I didn't see the reason to tell in Russian version a lot about life in Soviet Union because it's kind of like obvious stuff. But when I was translating, my wife suggested that, like, hey, why don't you throw in a couple of the stories that you tell me about your grandparents? So I added, so the English version is bigger, a little bit bigger book, and there's more stories actually than when I kind of like move from, I'm very hungry in my camp, and then I move.
Hi, Muriel. Just wanted to say hello.
Okay, my wife says hello to someone.
Nobody, just hello.
Oh, okay, I thought you said Maria.
No.
That was my wife Cheryl. That's the one that I'm trying to convince to make more cooking videos because I'm not good at cooking, but I'm really good at eating. Bunch of people saying hello. So yeah, my book is. If you learn Russian, you can use two books. Actually, quite a few people. There's a question: is your wife Slavic too? No, she's a all-American girl, born and raised in Michigan. People asking more cooking videos.
Okay.
She's German and Dutch, classic American borscht of different nations mixed up.
Italian.
Italian too.
Actually, 3% Russian.
Yeah, and I did my DNA because I have this suspicious look that I look a little bit German quite a times. That German people interrupt, and they talk German to me. So I thought maybe during occupation there's something happened in the village. Uh, anyway, but I did DNA and I found out I'm only 2% Jewish. Otherwise, oh, let's see, people's happy to see you. There we go. So yeah, if you guys can convince Cheryl, she can make more cooking videos.
Well, I figure I'd say hello to everybody that my husband spends a lot of time with.
Yeah, we put everything on hold. We have visitors later, so I'm trying to make it in an hour because she wants to vacuum and get the house ready. But more important is to talk to these people because they like my work.
Well, he enjoys all of you, so
Yep, I truly do. It's nice to share my knowledge. Borscht of different nations. Yep, exactly.
very much so.
Yeah, there's a high. Nick
I was
is
actually
from Jackson,
born in
Michigan.
Jackson, Michigan.
Yeah, my wife was adopted, so she was born in Jackson but grew up in Buran Springs, Michigan. So, okay, see, if you have any questions for Cheryl, she can answer. But as I mentioned before, she impressed me in our first date. She asked me if I like borscht, and the whole fact that American woman knows the word borscht really pricked up my attention because besides the fact that she's so pretty, it's kind of my style, dark hair, beautiful eyes, and all that
Little
good stuff.
chubby. COVID has not
So,
done me well. We're from Michigan.
oh, we got Arkansas and everything. Okay, so let me see what else. Yeah, we got a lot of snow here in Michigan. It's finally melting. I don't know, we got about a couple feet in February. So yeah. Oh, we got Poland. Aneta, greetings. So we already have a recipe for borscht. My wife kind of made it Americanized version, so you guys can check it out. I have a
We still have
video about it
differences.
in borscht.
Nope, just, cultural clashes.
Your son looks like your wife.
He acts like me, sort of.
Question about video games in USSR. There were some I didn't play. The very first video game I played was in Moscow in the early 90s, and I was American at the Sega Mega Drive, and that was some Terminator game. Cheryl, does Sergey suggest Russian-Ukrainian recipe and you have no idea what it is at first?
Yeah, in the beginning. But then his mom, through sign language, I figured out a few recipes, and then I've bought cookbooks, and I do my best. There's some things I will never tackle because I've tried and they were terrible. So I stick to the basics.
Yeah, unfortunately, most Americans don't like real fish because it tastes too fishy. Like selyotka, like pickled herring. It's like staple of, and Americans they just can't handle it. So like she does a shuba for me, but no one eats it but me. Selyotka under shuba.
I do not speak fluent Russian. I know a lot of words, but if you run them all together, forget it.
Which I find really convenient. So when I translate between my mother and my wife, I can translate anything I want. And just
What is this one from?
chebureki. It's like this big meat inside is like a big flat pie. So
Actually,
this
I
dough
just
around it.
saw a recipe for that and thought that might be something I should try. So that I will definitely do.
Is Cheryl a Michigan or Michigan State fan?
Well, embarrassingly enough, I'm kind of Notre Dame because I grew up so south of Michigan. We live really close to the border of Indiana. So I would say neither, to be truthful.
Yeah. So I'm a Michigan fan.
Yeah, Michigan
The
State. No, you like U
yellow
of M.
yellow letter. So anyways,
But he
yellow
knows
and
nothing about football. So
nope.
a home run
I
would be his
appreciate.
version of
Yeah,
football.
that's actually my favorite thing. When every time I'm getting into at work, Americans they do sporting. They talk about sports for hours. So I like to throw the wrench into conversation, and I'll just say like, yeah, that was awesome home run on that last football game.
Someone asked if you want to retire to Ukraine. Absolutely not. Cheryl will be retiring somewhere else, and we'll meet in the middle.
I could do live out of outhouse. As long as a good internet connection. So yeah, I was. Oh, we got Buckeyes and other teams.
Well, if you're from Michigan, Ohio State is everything you hate. So we even have a song. So I definitely don't like Ohio State. Truly know nothing about them, but we have a rival.
Okay, well, I'm looking at some of your questions, but it looks like my wife stole the show.
Americanized borscht, it's just using ingredients like broths so that you don't have to cook a piece of meat all day to get some of that flavor. So that's really the only Americanized version. And then his mother showed me that you actually use ketchup to create that tomato base, which is kind of funny, but it has the tomato and the vinegar, so it works really well.
So yeah, it's hard in Michigan to find old cow meat to boil it for 3 4 hours to get that broth. So we just buy broth. And we have already a video about making borscht, but I think we can make a pea soup, right? That could be another
Yellow pea.
yellow pea soup. That's a good stuff.
His father has never visited. His mother was here. She enjoyed it, but I don't think she'll be back. Between the travel and, not being fluent in Russian, it was hard on her.
Yeah. So my mother is kind of interesting. I want to continue on the topic of the visit.
All right,
Uh,
I will quit hijacking. Nice
all
to
right.
see everybody.
Yeah. So that was my wife Cheryl. She said, "Any pressure to make more video about cooking, please apply." So anyway, so when my mom wanted to come and visit, she said, "I will come if you meet me in the airport." It's like direct flight, but unfortunately, there's no direct flight from Kiev to Chicago, so I had to drive all the way to New York City to pick her up. So then, of course, that was the whole fiasco because she couldn't handle really well the long drive and stuff like that. There's a question. What do you think about Bangladesh? Honestly, I don't know much about it besides that it's right next to India and it's pretty much similar to India. So I can't tell you much about it. And during the Soviet days, I don't think they were paying any attention to that country. So I don't know. Okay, so let's see if we can catch up with some questions. Here it was nice of my wife to join, but I'm still kind of on the way behind on the questions. How were blacks treated in the USSR, like your early USSR? I already have a video about it. You can, if you look, I have it's called the racism in Soviet Union. We hardly have anybody there, so there was no issue besides big cities like maybe Leningrad, Kiev, Moscow. We had some students from Africa coming to study, and there was not a really friendly attitude towards them, especially when they started dating our girls. Then it was pretty ugly, surprisingly, because we were like international friendship and this like that. But I would strongly recommend check it out. My video about racism in Soviet Union. I described it in detail about. So yeah, there was quite a bit of it. Did you play any sports while in school? No, in Soviet Union, most schools hardly had any sports. I mean, we had physical education, fizkultura, twice a week, 45 minutes, but most schools, like, we hardly played anything. Like, there was no sports teams, no competition. I wish it was a little bit more. I think in America it's a little bit too much. And it was, you know, people go to college and they don't study, they just play football or whatever, right? So I didn't really play besides, you do running, you do play soccer a little bit, but was no really like playing sports per se. One of our school nearby, they had like a bike club for cycling. So one of my friends were in cycling, but otherwise not much sports. And they had a specialized sports school. So if somebody shows a lot of maybe talent, they'll send him there. But otherwise, there was not much sports. What was your impression of Ronald Reagan back in the 80s? Well, first of all, you need to keep in mind in 1980, I was 9 year old. But what I remember is when election happened in the United States, and that was like really ugly time, Cold War. Soviet Union went to Afghanistan. United States boycotted Olympics in 1980 in Moscow, so that was really tense, right? So when Carter lost, actually, I was excited because I was like, yeah, maybe now Cold War will be over. America has a different president, and relations between Soviet Union and America will improve. So there's a question come up: do you watch Bold and Bankrupt? I probably need to make a video about it. No, I don't watch. I know about him, but he's really good what he does. But as I said, I lived that life. He's going to the Ukraine and Russia to explore, find remnants of Soviet Union. I lived the Soviet Union life, so I don't see anything of interest. And he's really good at making like something which is probably not that interesting, but he knows how to make it interesting. Brings incitement in the regular stories. I have a similar videos, like I went in our village and it's abandoned, but I'm not getting lost in abandoned village like he always getting lost somewhere, for a couple of hours. And I don't watch NF Crazy either. I mean, he's a young guy, talks about Russia. I mean, I can look up that information because I'm fluent in Russian. So those guys, I have plenty of friends that living in Russia that I talk mostly on a daily basis, so I don't need to, to listen to what he will say. Did you learn about Kruti battle with students in Soviet Union? Of course not. There was not a word about it. The question is about when Ukraine had a short period of independence in 1918, 17. Young students were trying to stop Bolsheviks from coming to Kiev, and they got a lot of them died. Of course, it was hush hush for many years. No, I didn't. Of course, we didn't hear anything. Hello, can you tell us about antique shops in USSR? Can you buy antiques? I can't tell you much because I was, in my early teenagers and kids, so I never shopped. I think we had some of those, but mostly we had so-called collectors market. So there's like a bazaar, open air bazaar, and there's the people that bring stuff. Some of it was illegal to sell, like icons and stuff. Most popular question: do you watch Bold and Baker? Yep, it is. Svetlana, I agree. Well, people watch him. It's actually, YouTube now started showing like where the people that watch your channel, they come from these channels, or they watch also these channels. And Bold and Bankrupt and NF Crazy there too. So you could tell they kind of overlap. I mean, it's a lot of it similar topics, modern Russia, Soviet Union. So yeah, but I don't know. It's like, like we'll be watching somebody who is researching the history of football, and you used to be a football player. Would you be interested to see the guy who has no idea about football researching about different games, or like, it's like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like I said, I tried to watch Bold and Bankrupt, and I got on the video and he was riding Soviet bike, and he was like, oh my god, I'm riding Soviet bike, it's made in USSR. Like, okay, done. Because I used to have a Soviet bike, big deal. Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure about antique shops, but we had collectors market. The question: when will I stream again? I don't know. I usually stream every time I have another 1,000 subscribers. So I missed 52 and 51. So today will be for 51,000. Maybe next weekend, I think I'm off. We will do on Saturday another one for 52,000. And my channel kind of had this crazy spike for a while. All my food videos went nuts. I already answered a question about Alexei Navalny. I don't know. Until Putin in power, Navalny has no chance. So that will be next stream. Will be, and I don't support occupation of Crimea by Russia. No, I'm originally from Ukraine. Okay, moving along. There's a comment about Reddit that I have been a moderator on many major subreddits for many years. Don't take Reddit comments seriously. You'll lose your mind. I don't take it seriously. It's just I actually was sad because there's this people have this whole big conversation about life in Soviet Union, communism, and I was like, hey, I live there, And they like, okay, tell us. And I started answering questions and commenting, and they got all upset with me because they expected Soviet porn. They wanted to tell them like I wake up in the morning and I think about free housing and I have a little orgasm, and then I'm like, okay. And then I went to school and education was so amazing. So there was again, and I was like, man, I was okay here, but it wasn't good there, So okay, we got another donation from AB. Thank you so much. Communism is all about democracy in the workplace and democracy everywhere. How did Soviet people reconcile with that while being a dictatorship? You know, there is a theory and there's a reality. I think in the beginning, there was all positive attitude like, hey, as long as we can get rid of capitalism, that's the problem, and everything will be great. Like human factor was never counted into. So, like, if one of the first Lenin's decrees was to cancel all the laws of Tsarist Russia, open all the prisons and let everyone free. We don't need all that. And then they're like, oh, we need everything. And I'm watching right now TV series about Nestor Makhno in his, we call it Adventures in Ukraine back in, 1917, 18, 1919. And kind of similar situation. He was a anarchist, and it's kind of, you see his how he's changing because he's so, like anarchism is the answer to all the problems, and then he started learning along the way, like, wait, anarchy, why do you want to elect me as your bachko, was like, as your leader? We're supposed not to have leaders, we just like, anarchy, it doesn't work. Then is your second book published yet? In Russian. I have 1996 in Russian available, not in English. I'm right now working on translation. And then he's like, oh, we thought we can do just kind of anarchy army, but then like, nope, we have to make a regular army. So there is always reality with people. We got donation from Phil. Thank you so much, Phil. Appreciate your support. Thank you very much. By the way, guys, we have only 53 likes. This is kind of pretty slow. We have more money than likes. This is unusual. Usually we have more likes than money. So anyway, so it just, I'm planning to make videos about it, but what happens, every theory, it's like if you study chemistry or physics, they're always talking about, hey, in ideal system, this formula works, but then if you have a real system, then you need to consider gravity, air, thickness of air, resistance, трение, I'm not sure how to say it in English. So if you put all the realities into system, the formula doesn't really work. You have to encounter way more stuff. So this is kind of similar in human society. It's sounds really great in theory, but then you apply it to people. Like this Makhno show, they actually led a bunch of people out of prison in one of these towns in the southern Ukraine, and then all these criminals were starting raping and robbing people in that town, Yekaterinoslav. So he ended up killing those criminals. He's like, I'll set you free. Like, what's your problem? Why are you doing this? It's like, well, we deserve it. We deserve to have good life, so we just go and take what we think belongs to us. So this kind of same with the theory is always great, but unfortunately reality is. Okay, moving along, see what else we got for questions. I kind of lost the track. Answer Navalny. Does your wife enjoy a visit in Russia? I probably should make a video about it. I don't think we went twice. She went twice to Ukraine, and she doesn't want to go there anymore. So it kind of answers your question if my wife enjoyed a visit in Russia. Well, it was actually Ukraine, not Russia, Kiev. So she enjoyed my family, but there's a lot of Like using public transportation was a kind of challenge for my wife because close proximity of the people that don't use
Deodorant.
deodorant, stuff like that, and her nose is very sensitive. Then squat style
Parties.
parties were a challenge to her. So there's a lot of, she's a spoiled American, and she realized that when she came to Ukraine that. Did you have to wear a gas mask after Chernobyl explosion? No. They never told us how bad it is. And gas mask, I mean, it would help to stop some radioactive dust, but no. There's a question about my 2% Jewish, where it came from. Well, I think it's on my father's side. He's from Zhytomyr region, and Berdychev is close by. It's a town which was like a huge Jewish population. So probably eventually somewhere was some little action, but 2%, I mean, it's close to nothing. Oh, we actually have a viewers from Shenzhen, China. I just want to greet my Chinese friend Tian1. I don't know if you guys are aware, but YouTube is blocked in China, so it takes a skill to go around the firewalls and to get to that. Okay, what else? We have Florida here. Question about Czechoslovakia, what the Soviet people thought about it. On the sports, there was a lot of, because Czechoslovakia was really good in ice hockey, so there we had competition. But generally it was positive. We like Czechoslovak shoes, Cebo. So goods from Czechoslovakia was welcome, and I think Tatra, right? We had some tramways and trolley buses from Czechoslovakia, so those products were great. So generally positive. Okay, what else we have? Can you do an episode about religion? We already have that too. I have about 3 videos about religion in the Soviet Union. If you go through my playlists on my channel, just kind of scroll down. I think I have about 200, 300 videos. That topic was covered about religion. Aneta from Poland says she thinks solyanka is way better than borscht. My mom never cooked solyanka, so I'm not really familiar with that. I have a question, about money. Your money video doesn't show 5 ruble coin. Have you ever used it? Nope. That was more like a souvenir type coin. We didn't really use it. The biggest coin we had was 1 ruble, and those we didn't use much because they were heavy, inconvenient. So we had them once in a while, but if you have it, you're trying to get rid of it right away. Of course, if I knew they're gonna become collector's items, I'll be collecting them, but no. I think we also had a 3 ruble coins, but that was mostly like for specific, 70 years of revolution, they'll make some coins, but it wasn't a regular circulation much. I mean, you could use it, but most people, we didn't use 5 ruble coins at all. Even 50 kopecks were quite rare and not convenient coin. Okay, what else? Does Shell speak any Russian? Why didn't you teach your kids? Nope, my family is all English. It's really hard to teach everyone Russian when your spouse is English. It takes a big effort, and it didn't work out in my family. Somebody noticed we have a book on India on our bookshelf. Yeah, it's all cooking books that my wife, she loves cooking, so all those books are very much about cooking.
They are. And you know what? I'm going to share that dessert with them because most of them are American, yeah?
Yes, we have a video about Americanized borscht. Do your children speak English with Russian accent? No. They understand my accent pretty good. Sometimes friends come in and they don't understand me because they didn't get used to accent, but my kids don't notice my accent. Like, they were surprised to find out, like, hey, your dad has accent. And my kid's like, "What are you talking about?" So if you live with someone who talks to you and has accent, they don't catch it. All right, we're almost at 100 likes, so we need 10 more likes and we'll have 100 likes. That'll be fantastic. Okay, there was a question about do you want to retire in Ukraine? Money-wise, retiring in Ukraine will make sense. It's cheaper. Like for example, you can buy a pretty decent house out in the country, and for decent one for 5,000 probably. I mean, it will be a little bit a ways. The problem that like my mom, she's afraid to leave her place for longer than a day because somebody will break in and steal stuff because there's a bunch of drunks, alcoholics. Here in America they call them like those crackheads. We'll have a drunk heads, and they were just like roaming the village, and if they snatch anything they see, so it's like you'll be always concerned about your stuff being stolen. So it's just there's no security in that, unfortunately. So I would like to retire and like not in the city. I hated big cities and I never liked Kiev. But the reality is probably I can move somewhere like northern Michigan. It's kind of like Ukraine climate wise. There actually was a donation in rubles, Russian rubles. My viewer from way back, I have a Russian channel called Другая America, the Other America, when I tell the Russians about life in the United States. So yeah, I have a книжка 96-й год, уже можно заказать на Лулу, она там есть. Или на спутников, но шиппинг тогда будет очень дорогой. I was just explaining that my 1996 American Diaries book in Russian is available for shipping. We got donation. Привет, товарищ. $5 from Charles. Thank you. Are most of your comrades here in the U.S. From the USSR? No, most of my friends, they're still in Kiev, Ukraine. I have two like my close friends that moved also to the United States. One lives in New York area, like New York State, and another one lives in Minnesota right now. Alex, that's actually this. Alex and me were close friends from school, and he discovered this Camp Counselors USA program back in 1994. So we came together to work in the camps, traveled so. Otherwise, the rest of my friends, they're still back home. I have a couple people from my school, from my class, but they moved here as on a Jewish visa, but we're never good friends. It's just I know them because we're together in the same class. Okay, let's see what else. Cheryl's impression of visiting Ukraine. She thought it was dirty. It was smelly, run down, trash everywhere, grass not mowed, just kind of poor, depressing. We actually have a pretty nice apartment by Ukrainian standards. It's 3 rooms, but it was all dark and gloomy for her. She was very depressed on that. So yeah, she was happy to leave. I mean, I don't know what you enjoyed there the most.
Probably being around your mom.
Just
food
and hanging out with my parents, but otherwise, yes. Okay, we have another donation from Marigold and Muse. What do you think would need to happen for corruption to be lessened in Russia and other post-Soviet countries? Pretty much time. You need all that generation of former communists to die out, because when communists start practicing capitalism, all they know is how to steal. They don't know how to actually run, normal democracy. All they know is how to take bribes, use connections. Just pretty much, we grew up Soviet Union. There was 2 parallel worlds. They one talk, but what's going on was totally different. So yeah, they introduced capitalism to Russia, and this is what we have. I mean, everyone in power right now is former communists. So it is only way is the only time. That's it. They need to die out. It's how unfortunately that's how society changes. You just need the old timers to disappear. Then maybe new generation will be better. A lot of it applies to any country in the United States. You know, a lot of people look at society as a jar of pickles. It's already perfect. It's crunchy. Don't let it change. Let's keep the lid tighter. Let's put more conservatives in there. Just keep that jar. Oh my God, you see the bubble. We need to, put more pressure, close that lid. But, I look at society as a living organism. It's changing, it's growing. Think about it. In America, in early 1900s, women couldn't vote. I mean, who would be that crazy to decide, hey, women actually can vote? Now it's totally normal. Now women vote for conservatives. Back then, there was conservatives fighting against the women's right to vote. So you think that way is like, it takes generation to disappear. The people that thought that women are not humans, so it took forever and it took fight. So a lot of it, unfortunately, is just many people, they so conservative, as I said, they look at society as a jar of pickles. You can't, so until in Russia, that generation, so we're talking people born in like, baby boomers pretty much, early 1940s, who were in power later, they need to be gone. Then maybe there'll be some positive change. This question and donation from Nettie's girl. Did coins in Soviet Russia have intrinsic value? I don't know about metals. Probably. A lot of Russian coins, apparently some of them were rare. They didn't do many of them. So they actually worth a lot of money. Then we had a lot of these special just collectors coins. And those are, if you go on eBay and you enter USSR coins, there's some really expensive coins, not just because of the metal, but just because of its rarity, or it's because it's, Soviet. Because a lot of people right now think it's Soviet is very cool. All right, we got another donation. Thank you, Intercast. Just no question. Thank you for your support. Okay, so yeah, today is unusual. Definitely unusual stream. People feel generous. Maybe sun came out because usually I have more likes than dollars, but today is more dollars than likes. It's kind of interesting. But thank you everyone for your support. I greatly appreciate it. It helps me to spend time away from my family in the front of microphone so I can record another show. My wife having sometimes an issue with that. I said sometimes. I'm gonna show you. This is not Russian cooking, but this is one of my wife's latest smoked s'mores or whatever it's called.
You have to make them. For those of us in the U.S., I was so happy to find it. So it's a brownie s'mores bar. They're so delicious and so easy. If anybody wants the recipe, let Sergey know and I'll send it to you. But wow, amazing. So you get the s'mores with the burnt marshmallow, a brownie, and a graham cracker crust. What's not to like?
Oh. So yeah, I'm having a hard time not to gain weight here in America because food is quite hardcore here. Okay, the question: how do Russians view China nowadays? Well, you need to ask Russians. There's a mixed feelings. A lot of Russian propaganda goes that China is like a good friend of Russia right now because they're both, against the United States. But some people are concerned because it's almost like China, like the anaconda, slowly working Russia, almost swallowing, because there's a lot of Chinese people now in the cities, in towns in Siberia. And actually, I don't know if you're aware, but Russian government did the like 50-year lease. So they leased huge chunks of land in Siberia to Chinese for 50 years. That's a lot. I mean, picture 50 years, you can do whatever you want on this territory. And it's like huge territory has been rented out to Chinese, and so they do logging, they do whatever they want there. So definitely there is a Chinification of far east of Russia going on. So some people are concerned about, like real Russian patriots, are really concerned about it. But a lot of people, because they listen and follow official propaganda, China is like a good guy because China stands up against the American imperialism, and we do too. So, but I think my concern that in the end, China gonna take back all the territories they lost during the Second Opium War. It was kind of interesting, that it was France and England fighting against Chinese, but Russia managed to snatch a giant chunk of land from China without actually having any war with China. They're just kind of like, hey, how about we just give us all this? And I think they offered something to China, like moral support, but they took a big chunk of land from them. Like Vladivostok used to be Chinese. Another donation, thank you so much, from AB. I heard KGB and NKVD hired physics to solve crimes, find spies of psychics, not physics, psychics. Why do atheists stay to be so superstitious? Oh, we were, if you remove religion, you still. I mean, I think religion is also fighting against stupid superstition. Like, if you see a woman crossing the road with two empty buckets, it's for bad luck.
You're still superstitious.
Yes. So, it's being atheist state has nothing to do with superstitious. It's just, it is what it is. There's a lot of things that I still do. Some of them automatically. Like, you don't want to leave empty bottle on the table because you're going to live your life with only have empty bottles on your table, no full table. You don't whistle in the house, like it annoys me, but it's for bad luck. Oh, there's a lot of it. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a cultural thing mostly than being atheist. Okay, we talked already about Navalny. We talked about Bangladesh. Bermuda, that's cool. Never been in Bermuda. That'll be nice. Do you encourage your kids to go to college in Ukraine and maybe settle there? No. My son liked to go. We went a couple of times recently. He literally liked there, but not to be in college. Okay, we're moving along. There's another donation. Thank you so much. Love your content. Keep it up. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm happy to see that despite the fact there's a sliver of people that hate what I tell the stories, but it is what it is. I can't make it look uglier or prettier.
You lived it.
It wasn't horrible, but wasn't great either. I mean, there were some nice parts of living in the Soviet Union, but if you know that your tomorrow will be exactly the same like today, and a day after tomorrow and a year after that will be exactly the same as today, some people think it's fantastic. I have my security. I don't need to worry about anything. But a lot of people consider, that's the problem. Like, I want change. So, it's just, you never can make anybody happy. This question about Michigan, is weed legal here? Yes, they made weed legal. You can grow your own weed. In Michigan, I think it's 6 plants per person. So yeah, it became legal, but I don't see a huge explosion in weed smoking. Like, we don't do anything, don't grow any, and then I have no interest. I have plenty of fun to have Ushanka Show. So, but yeah, it's quite a change here. There's a question what the Soviets think about Mongolia. Pretty much positive. I mean, it was kind of interesting that Mongolia wanted to join Soviet Union, but we helped them with war against Japan. I really liked their stamps, like Mongolian postal stamps for collection. They were pretty cool. I don't know anything about Starozhevoy mutiny. I need to look it up. A lot of these events, you guys know more about it than I do because I never knew about them when I grew up in Soviet Union, and I never had a chance to get to it. I'm still working through topics of World War II and 1937, 38 repression, so I'm way behind on learning about Soviet Union. I lived in Soviet Union, but a lot of that was closed doors and closed information. There's a question. You talked how Soviets had like 200 books per household. Yeah, it doesn't mean that they read all 200 books, but that was almost like it's a cool thing to have. It's like shows that you are smart and you are actually well-to-do. I read every book I had in our collection because I like to read books. Every Russian guy I have known is really good at technical things, fixing stuff. It's because skilled guys emigrate. Not really. It's because as more poor you are, as more you need to fix stuff yourself because you can't afford to hire somebody. Like, I drive a car right now. I have no idea how to fix it, but I buy a reliable car, newer car. So I drive Toyota, and I don't know how it works because I know how to change oil, stuff like that. But if something goes wrong, there's no way I can fix it, and I can afford to pay someone who can do a professional job. When you are poor, you know, then you have to fix yourself, and then your vehicle. Like Lada was pretty crappy quality car, so you always carry spare parts with you wherever you travel, and you need to know how to fix it because if you break down somewhere in the middle of the nowhere, there's no cell phones to call. You need to figure out and fix. So yeah, it's just the lifestyle made you handy. You had to fix everything yourself because you couldn't afford, or we just had no one available to fix your stuff. So it's just out of necessity you're a handyman. I kind of noticed he's in America similar as people who drive these old beat up trucks and they can take it apart and fix it with their closed eyes because they keep on fixing all the time. I don't want to get into this Chevy Ford argument, which is more quality, but they handy just because they have to. Like a friend of mine, when he used to own Lada, he was like by the sound of the engine, he was like, okay, we need to pull over. I have something going on. I need to change spark plugs. I need to like. I'm like, oh, dude, how can you tell that? Now he has a Toyota car, and he's like, yeah, I don't know how to fix it. It's just running, and I never mess with it. So it's a lot of it out of necessity. Another donation from upstate. Thank you, Thomas. And I find it interesting that you work in your current profession. That I, yeah, when I moved in this area, I wasn't happy to find out there's a nuclear plants around here, but it is what it is. I have a degree, and that was a good paying job, so I took it. But it's definitely no butcher shop that sells old beef meat. I don't know how you can tell that it's old cow meat. It should be like bluish color. Here they put so many colors into the meat that you can they don't put says this cow is old. It's not just old beef. You need to understand it's old milk cow. So it's the cow wasn't like fed with corn to make it all fatter. It's just like a really hard meat. You had to boil. It's not about flavor. It's just the meat was so hard and old that you had to boil it forever to make it eatable. So yeah, you guys, you grow cows just for meat. We never did it. It's like the whole new thing now in Russia to develop actually. Uh, let's see if we can get this guy. Goodbye. Okay, see, it'll help. Okay, so what else we have here? We talk about Navalny. Okay, another question and donation. Long short story. Long story short. Definitely not my case. I have a hard time to make my stories short. Remember talking about farmers' work hours. Did pay go up on seniority? How the pay structure work? Well, if you're, it's not really farmer. If you work for collective farm, you are required to work specific amount of days. It's like not even work hours, it's work days, and there's a check mark. In exchange, uh, they'll provide you with some grain or some hay. There was no seniority. I mean, you just work. It was pretty much like slavery to the point. You were required to work without pay, and if you don't work, then you lose all these little perks, like they let you use the horse in the spring to plow your fields. So our peasants, our collective farm workers, were like poor of the poor. They were surviving pretty much on their little plots of land, which is like 0.4 acre hectare, and so they were like you were allowed to have only one cow, only a couple of pigs, chickens. So like you work for free at a collective farm, and then you have at night and the evening to take care of your own stuff. So I don't know anything about seniority there. And like my grandma worked all her life at a collective farm, and then her pension was only 12 rubles, 12 rubles, which is enough to buy. I mean, I always compare it to vodka. So it's enough to buy maybe 4 bottles of vodka. So picture $80 a month pension in America, right? And she worked, but because she never get paid, she got minimum pension. So that's pretty ugly. Do you know that in Italy workers could win trip to Soviet Union? No, I didn't know that. Do you think in Russian or Ukrainian language? Definitely, I don't think in Ukrainian. Ukrainian was always my second language. Now it became my, I don't know, third language maybe. Like I'm bouncing between Russian and English. I can switch fluently from one to another, but I can drop words by accident. It's kind of famous, especially if I could be talking in Russian, then turn around, try and talk to my wife. I can continue talking Russian or put Russian words in. So, and sometimes I'm thinking in Russian, sometimes in English. Some words are easy in Russian, some words are easy in English. I'm a mess. It's really like I was drifting into English a lot until I started because I live full time English. What is your university degree? I am engineer of electronics. We didn't have this PhDs or bachelors, so I just have a diploma engineer of electronics. Okay, see what else. Question: what do people think about Afghanistan? Well, we only thought what the government tell us, so we didn't have a lot of information. So we thought we're helping them. So then when the truth came out, of course, so people were angry about America helping them and even China, so yeah, that was pretty bad. Okay, guys, I'm an hour. We'll need to wrap it up. I'm working right now on another video. We're going to make a socialist realism review. There's another picture that parcel pasilka from home. Hopefully, maybe I'll have it ready tonight. Last question from Kyle. What do you think about Russia invading Crimea? I don't think anything positive about it, of course. There's a lot of weird similarities. If you think about Nazi Germany, they had Olympics in Berlin, and then they annexed Austria. Russia had Olympics in Sochi, then they occupied Crimea. Really bizarre, like similarities are quite scary. I'm not sure why Putin decided to go for it. I think he thought it would be a great way of being popular among Russian people, but they definitely underestimated the reaction of the West and how the sanctions going to affect them. So, okay, the last question, we got donations, so I have to answer it. Was the farmer able to sell their own land? No, they never owned the land. They had a right to cultivate 0.4 hectare located right next to their lot, but it was not there's still no private property like land in Ukraine. They're changing the law right now, so yeah, no, you couldn't do. So you could sell the produce on bazaar if you have some extra, like potatoes and stuff, but that land was like collective farm was allowing you to use the land to feed yourself, but you never could sell it. No private enterprise because it's against the law, against the socialism idea. You can't have a private enterprise. And reselling, so if you grow something and you sell it at bazaar, it's legal. If you buy potatoes somewhere cheap and then you sell it for money, was for more money, that was illegal, called speculaция. Yes, that's correct. Okay, guys, I'm wrapping up. Thank you so much. Was the Volga a solid car? I guess it was. I never owned one, but it's probably had the same problems with as other Soviet cars, shortage of spare parts and stuff. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me. I really enjoyed it. We will try to make another live. So today is a 51K. Next week, hopefully maybe Saturday, we'll do another live to do 52,000 subscribers. I actually started hoping that maybe one day I'll reach 100K, and maybe not in 10 years, but pretty faster than that. So we'll see. So if you know anyone who's interested in Soviet history, let them know, ask them to subscribe to my channel, because I think I'm doing a pretty good job giving you interesting information, but channel definitely doesn't grow fast. I don't know why. Sometimes I wonder maybe YouTube has some conspiracy. So anyway, thank you for joining. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye.